Hey everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of the Oaks Countdown. Nicole, Russo in Kentucky, joined by Dan Illman in New York. We'll begin, as we usually do, by taking a look at the current leaderboard toward a spot in the 14-horse Kentucky Oaks Gate on the last Friday in April this year. You'll immediately see a new name right near the top of the list there, following last week's Group 3 UAE Oaks at Meydan. And Dan, I think Manasek is a very interesting filly who her connections indicated could be bound for a start or two in the U.S. this spring.
She certainly is, because she blew them away in the UAE Oaks. Now, in her prior start, she was defeated by Soft Whisper in the UAE 1000 Guineas, but she had an excuse in that race, and that she did not break very well and was running on at the end. Now, Soft Whisper, of course, came back and kind of disappointed in the Saudi Derby, but this filly has a lovely pedigree, Nicole.
She really does, and we'll watch her winning the UAE Oaks in her third career start. As you mentioned, she won that in dominant fashion. She's made all three of her starts at Meydan. She's by Empire Maker, who, of course, needs no introduction, a source of classic stamina and influential stallion. The Dam Washington Bridge by Yankee Gentleman won the Grade 2 Bayakoa on a synthetic track in California. This filly very interesting because she's actually bred on a similar pedigree pattern to American Pharaoh, both Empire Maker, Pioneer of the Nile. The pedigree certainly indicates that this one could continue to go farther.
And a little bit of an advantage that she has, Nicole, is that there's going to be likely some attrition out of this top points list right now. You look in Southern California, and Varda, the number 9, she looks like she's going to be out with an injury. Moonlight Dioro, a recent winner, is likely going to miss the classics. I'm getting a little concerned about the 12 Malathot for Todd Pletcher. She hasn't worked in a while. And Day Out of the Office was originally scheduled to run against champion Vequist in this coming week, Devona Dale, but Day Out of the Office hasn't worked in a month. Tim Ham says she's still on the trail, but it'd be nice to see a workout into her very soon.
Yeah, we're certainly starting to get toward crunch time. At this point, some of these delays that you mentioned for these horses are not insurmountable. You still got time for a prep or two, but as the days track on, the door starts to close for some of these horses. We'll have to wait and see how plans shape up. But in the meantime, we are looking ahead to a big weekend of action. 2 points races this weekend toward the Oaks, the Cincinnati Trophy at Turfway, a sprint that's the local prep toward the Bourbonnette Oaks on synthetic. More prominently, as you mentioned, the Devona Dale as Gulfstream's prep series continues, and we are expecting to see champion Vequist making her first start since winning the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies there. Really excited to see how she's turned the corner from 2 to 3. Such a good, consistent filly.
She's going to be a prohibitive favorite in that race, and deservedly so. And I think you're right. We want to see progression. If she wins like we expect her to win, she's probably going to vault right back to the top, certainly, of the point standings, and she will reassert control from the Clariers and Travel columns of the world on top of the 3-year-old filly rankings as it pertains to the Kentucky Oaks. But there's always a possibility that she was a very early 2-year-old and that some of these others have caught up to her. So while it's a prep race, it's kind of an interesting and important prep race for Vequist to prove that she has matured.
Absolutely. And I'm sure we'll have plenty to talk about coming out of that race. Will Vequist continue to progress and step forward? Will somebody else have moved ahead over the winter and step up to knock off the champion? We'll have that and more next week right here on the Oaks Countdown.